Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to review the Oasis Network, the ROSE token. For those who don't know my channel, what I do is I do research into a model. The model has an output. I weigh the model's output to reality to reflect and modify the model to correlate to the highest ROI in the cryptocurrency space. This is the model. The project is the Oasis Network, and I'm going to dive right into it. So what problem or market does this project address? Well, it's a general L1 runtime environment. This is a trusted, I don't want to get too much into the weeds here, but a blockchain is a contextual database that allows for untrusted parties to read and write to that database so that they could have trusted information. And this allows for the world's financial assets and thus is a very large market space. So in general, it can run any financial instrument that can be conceived of in a digital environment. That's what it really is. It's a general L1 trust environment, but it's very similar to Polkadot, and it's very similar to AVAX in that it has parallelization and it has somewhat like parallel chains. So I'll get into that. So it's the Oasis Network. It runs on the Cosmos Tendermint inter-blockchain communication. This means it should have interoperability with that Cosmos Tendermint consensus layer. It's a standardized toolkit for developers, so that allows for developers to build out quickly because it's standardized at this point. It is split into two components, consensus layer and the contract execution layer, which have an interface to each other to communicate. The consensus layer handles the proof of stake part of the blockchain. The contract execution layer is where you're going to get your smart computer logic. This is where you're going to see financial instruments such as equity stocks or financial instruments or even game assets or metaverse assets. Or any digital asset, so to speak, could run with smart logic. That's what you'll get within the contract execution layer, which could have real world implications, etc. So I have a video describing all the different use cases of blockchain if you want to see that. All right, the parallel runtime environment allows for it to not have to run into issues with scalability. It will have privacy, versatility, and modularity. Modularity just means that it'll be standard toolkits or you can think of modules almost as Legos that can be built out to each other to allow for customizable environments or customizable use cases so that this project can hopefully hit a viral dApp, which is what would cause it to perform well. So yeah, parallel runtime environments on top of the contract execution environment. It has tokenization of data, which allows for an incentivized data economy. You can create financial instruments with your data packets, as well as customizable environments, which is what I just described. It's similar to Polkadot and AVAX, right? So that's what it could potentially compete with. Yeah, so I'm going to get into the project model and what the model expects for token performance. So future increase in demand for the token, the model expects there to be demand. Obviously, if successful, a lot of these models hypothesize success of execution. All right, so what is the size of the market that we're talking about here? It's a general L1. Privacy, Ethereum virtual machine just being a computer runtime environment that's compatible with Ethereum. So you can run any digital asset, etc. This is, in my personal evaluation, I believe this is a $400 trillion market. Basically, the world's assets will move into these kind of smart logic computation environments, these databases that allow for untrusted parties to communicate and interoperate, read and write to each other. So I do believe that the world's assets will move into these blockchain spaces and will be running onto many different blockchains, such as equities, cars, a smart world. If we believe that the world is going to become smart, if you believe in that technology is going to keep improving, then you are very bullish on the market opportunities of these financial assets, the market, etc., that these kind of projects can address eventually. So yes, it's a very large market, 400 trillion total in size. Now, this project has a lot of competitors, basically every L1 as well as the L0s. So it's in a competition it's in competition for developers and connections, but I'll get into some of that as well. All right, so is a token used for services and governance? A token is basically ownership of this platform. You are going to run it is proof of stake, so therefore the The token is controlled through the validators, and thus the validators are the governance over this. Whether there's a formal structure or not, we'll get into that. But it is basically the token is ownership of the platform. Therefore, yes, the token is critical to the success of the platform. Transaction fees go to the validators. So yeah, that's a service provided fee. And participation, so there are incentive programs. So those are the things that the token is used for. Dividend, movement to PDEs, token supply distribution, all of those things are kind of irrelevant because the token is control of this environment. So it's basically the equity component of it in a hypothetical sense. Low inflation rate. So this is the issuance. Oh, well, what happened there? This is the issuance where we are right now. We are past the 50% mark, which is where you want to get in usually because that's where a lot of the damage is done mathematically speaking from token issuance. And as you can see, where we are right now, we're past that 50% issuance. It looks like it happened back here in May or something. All right, so yes, we're past 50%, which is where you want to be. ICO performance, it's been pretty standard. It's performed on average with the average crypto from ICO prices. So it's not like there's a huge amount of VCs that are going to dump on you, so that's good. And the recent price action is not under any kind of FOMO. Fear of, it looks just like my chart here. That's basically what I've noticed is a good time to enter a project is, when the hype is not going on. That's basically what the chart looks like. So it's green from that perspective. It's not a super low market cap project. This project is a $334 million project. The fully diluted is $600 million. That is not a small market cap by any sense of the word. It is a 6 cents per token project. But yes, the market cap is about fully diluted 600 million. So that's not super small. It's not super big either. Especially considering, like we're talking about 400 trillion. But, when I say 400 trillion market opportunity, it's got a lot of competition. And, Pareto principle says 80-20 rule. So you got to think about things like that as well. All right, let's get back into it. So adoption. Let's take a look at that. So I took a look at the blockchain explorer. It doesn't look like the activity is taking off by any sense of the word, but we are in a bear market, so things are kind of dull right now. Now, I will notice that the total value lock did take a plunge sometime in June. I don't know what that's all about. Doesn't look good to me. And its major DEX has 16 million, so it doesn't have the most adoption. So you got to think, it's got like let's take it this like 16 plus 5. So that's about 21 million right here on the first major dApps, or about 22 actually right there. So you got 22 million, right? And then it's got a market cap of 300 million diluted. So it's like less than 10% of its market cap is in total value locked. So that could look like a premium to me. I would like to see it, the ratio of that to be a little bit lower, but who knows? But yeah, as far as exponential growth, I put yellow because I can't see that it's getting exponential growth at the moment. But once again, that could change. It does have decent liquidity. It's got decent buy support, which is a good thing. And yes, it's live and the blockchain is running, and we should see more operations running, as well as, for instance, their roadmap. The good things on their roadmap are this at Fire. I think it's live or close to being live. WASM. Basically, the privacy component of an Ethereum virtual machine, that's very good. That could potentially bring on some traction to this blockchain. Ethereum virtual machine looks to be the winner for the most part as of right now. Obviously, things can change. But if you don't have an Ethereum virtual machine, I don't know how a project is going to be successful because a lot of integrations into the current crypto space are in Ethereum virtual machines. So they got privacy in their Ethereum virtual machine, which looks good. As well as WASM looks to be the future of programming, so we'll see how that unfolds. One of the things that I will say about their timeline is they do have this, one of the largest university programs for building on Oasis. So they got over 26 universities cooperating. So that potentially could bring about a good future, a good build out for this thing, depending on how many of these, depending on if this program actually works to get products and services and get the viral dApp, etc. So that could potentially be bullish. So I did put their roadmap as being green, or their history as being green, etc. All All right, so as far as governance, I'm just going to circle this thing in a general sense. The governance is good. It is proof of stake. It doesn't have a formal process like governance coded in, but because you need the token to control the validators and the validators control the network, there is a governance and a collaboration effort there in place. And so I put that it's decently decentralized. Obviously, you're going to have big concentrations of tokens in the founders, but it is decentralized enough in that the token is in control and the validators control the network. So I put the governance structure is generally green, and it'll work out the kinks of any governance. I've seen, look, the fact that Ethereum was capable of agreeing to moving to proof of stake proves that even a loose governance structure can be effective. So I put the green up for their governance structure. As far as developer experience, the Cosmos Tendermint, you're gonna have C++, Rust, JavaScript, Python, etc. In those modular runtime parallelization environments. So developers should have a decent experience coding in this thing. So the value of the services should increase because the developers will be able to add services. User experience should get better. Now, some of the things that are neutral in the model, I don't think, because it is in the Cosmos ecosystem and it is part of that Tendermint environment as well as IBC, it should be easy for businesses to copy it. But contextually they won't. That's the strength here, is the context of the database. But as far as logic goes, doesn't have a moat. So I could put that as neutral or green, depending on what kind of adoption they get in the future. But obviously, the context of the data on the blockchain would be moat protected, which means it would protect those business models from easy migration. So slightly green, slightly yellow there. So depending on what gets adopted. But I still expect there to be network effects. So I did ultimately rule that I think that's green, as well as the tokens per person to go down, as well as the tokens on the sell side to decrease, and the money needed to move up the price should be fine, as well as price FOMO eventually. I couldn't find data on the weak hands metrics, so I'll put that as yellow. But considering that more than half the tokens are released, not a super big concern of dumpage from a mathematical standpoint. All right, finally, getting into the team. Evidence that the management is trustworthy. You have Professor Don Song, which is the CEO. Now, you'll notice the team has a lot of PhDs. It's one of the biggest strengths of this. This is a PhD project. It is an academic project. It's spread amongst all those universities right here. So that is one of the strengths of this project. Basically, just to give a rundown of the team, you have people in machine learning. You have people in physics, in engineering, software, analysis, security, privacy, and also machine learning. So that is one of the strengths of this project, is that there's a lot of PhDs associated with this project, a lot of academics, and they do have machine learning. Machine learning being one of the next narratives, I believe, personally, in the next crypto market. And in society in general, machine learning is going to be highly relative moving forward, because we're at a point in time where machine learning is really taking off. And as Peter Diamandis says, if your business doesn't have machine learning, your business won't exist. And so it's good that they have machine learning experts in their in this project. So basically, decent. Like, the team is one of the strengths. A lot of PhDs there, a lot of academics, and a lot of machine learning backgrounds. So that's what you want to see for the long-term viability of the project. It's got a lot of venture capital behind it, such as Andreessen Horowitz, which is his 16-ounce crypto, Polychain Capital, Binance Labs, Huobi. Some of the partners are Healthcare, Nebula, Genomics, Safe Rate. So there's some people that are using their services. So, they do have... now, they possibly might have some kind of partnership with Apple. They do have people... who have a background, like they have Apple developers and Nicholas Pinto. These are people who have relationships to AI startups in Apple. So there is a rumor to this project that it could potentially have an Apple partnership in the future. So that could turn out to make this thing a high performer if that rumor turns out to be true. As far as large business models that demand the token to reflect their needs, I put neutral, but with proof of stake chains, we know this will happen if a project gets adopted. We've already seen the evidence that for Ethereum, that some projects will want to hold the token if it's a successful platform to be part of the validator set. So yes, I believe it's just as much as any other proof of stake chain having that incentive for business models to hold the token. All right, so that is the, it's already done. That's a general run through of the model. So that is the, here, let me shut off my phone here. All right, so that's a general overview of the model. As far as the pros and the cons, the pros have many PhDs in the teams, many connections, L1 privacy, very large market, machine learning. The cons, doesn't stand out too much, but it does have a lot of competition with, the con is that it has a lot of competition with Atom, Dot, Secret Network, and others. There's many different parallelization, like even Geek is another project that I'm aware of that has this kind of parallelization model that allows for customization of runtime environments. So it's not unique from that sense, so it does have a decent amount of competition. The cap is not low. Total value metrics don't look good either. Total value locked, moving, like that huge drop off in June. We'll see if they can get some more value to come back on the network. And lack of a moat, but that one I could probably take off. It's somewhat neutral in that. All right, that is the model. For my patrons, I go into more details about my specific allocations and specific predictions on where I think it compares. For everyone else, if you like this kind of content, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.